I refused to put down the catering deposit for my sister's wedding after the venue coordinator told me she'd already booked a second, pricier hall behind my back. So some context, my sister Bree is getting married in September. She and her fiancé Derek have decent jobs, but between them they were still coming up short on wedding costs, and our parents are retired and not in a position to help much. I offered to cover the catering deposit because I wanted to be helpful and because Bree asked me to. Simple as that. The whole budget was, I thought, pretty well settled. They'd picked a venue, gone with a caterer, and the catering deposit was $3,200, which I'd agreed to wire directly to the coordinator, a woman named Patrice, who managed both the venue and the vendor relationships. Bree sent me Patrice's contact info and asked me to get it sorted before the end of the month. I called Patrice on a Thursday afternoon to go over the payment details. She was completely professional, pulled up the file, confirmed the caterer, confirmed the menu package. Then she mentioned something kind of offhandedly, like she assumed I already knew. She said, and just so you have it on record, the deposit for Hawthorne Hall is separate from what we're doing today. I didn't know what Hawthorne Hall was. I said, I'm sorry, what hall? There was a pause. Hawthorne Hall. The Saturday booking your sister made in February. It's the larger ballroom, indoor-outdoor setup, seats up to 200. She put down $1,500 to hold it. The balance of $4,800 is due 90 days before the event. I just sat there for a second. I think there might be some confusion, I said. The venue they chose is Millfield Garden. That's correct, Patrice said. We have both reservations on file. Millfield Garden for the Friday rehearsal dinner and Hawthorne Hall for the wedding reception Saturday. I thanked her and told her I'd call back. Then I sat at my kitchen table for probably 10 minutes before I called Bree. She picked up right away, cheerful, asked if everything was sorted with Patrice. I said not exactly. I told her what Patrice had told me. There was a pause that lasted just a beat too long. Okay, she said. So I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Have you? We upgraded the venue. Hawthorne Hall is so much better. Like, it's actually beautiful, and Millfield was fine, but it only seats 120 and Derek's family is bigger than we thought, and I didn't want to tell you yet because I knew you'd make it a whole thing. Bree, the balance on that hall is almost $5,000 on top of what I'm already covering. I wasn't going to ask you to cover it. I just didn't want you getting stressed before we figured out the numbers. You've had this booked since February. I know, it's April. She went quiet. I asked her straight out, were you planning on telling me before or after I wired the catering deposit? She said she was going to tell me this weekend. She said she and Derek were still working through who was covering what, and she just needed a little more time to figure it out. She said she wasn't trying to hide it. She was just trying to handle it. I told her I needed to think. She got a little sharp then. She said she didn't understand why I was making this such a big deal when she hadn't even asked me for anything extra. I said that wasn't really the point. The point was she'd been letting me act like I was the fully informed person helping plan her wedding while she quietly booked a second, more expensive venue and said nothing for 2 months. She said, so you're punishing me. I'm not wiring $3,200 today. I said, that's not punishment. That's just me not doing something while I'm still processing the fact that I apparently didn't have the full picture. She told me the deposit was due by Friday or they'd lose the caterer slot. I said I understood that. She told our mom that night. Mom called me at 9 p.m. and said Bree was upset and that I needed to understand how much stress Bree was under and that the deposit deadline was real and couldn't I just handle it now and talk about the rest later. I said I loved Bree and I wanted her wedding to be everything she wanted, but I wasn't going to keep sorting out the pieces I'd been told about while a whole other venue situation existed that I didn't know about. I said if Bree wanted to sit down and lay out the full picture, I was completely willing to have that conversation. Mom sighed and said I was being rigid. I said she booked a $6,300 hall and didn't tell me for 2 months while I was putting together her catering payment. Long silence. Well, Mom said finally, I didn't know about the second hall either. The caterer slot went to someone else on Friday.